India embraced economic reforms and liberalization in 1991 when it was staring at an economic crisis. A watershed movement, it had far-reaching consequences on both Indian economics and polity. While a lot has been written on this topic already, very few books actually capture the reforms in that much detail as this book, Reform Nation by Gautam Chikremane does. So let's discuss what Gautam Chikremane, Vice President of Observer Research Foundation, has to say about India's economic reforms journey. Keep watching. Hello and welcome once again to Books Wale, Bhaiya. I'm Abhishek. Today we are talking of economic reforms and I'll be talking about the book Reform Nation by Gautam Chikremane. We all know that India liberalized its economy in 1991 when it was staring at an economic crisis. But what exactly was the situation in 1991? What happened in 1991 as India's response in terms of economic reforms and liberalization, and what happened after that? In this book, the author Gautam Chikremane covers practically every aspect related to the Indian economy, India's economic history, the situation before 91, as well as what exactly does the future holds. But most importantly, this book starts with a very interesting topic, the first chapter, which talks about a tale of two reforms. It talks about the protest against the farm laws in 2021 and the economy, and compares it to the situation in 1991 when India liberalized its economy. Both these reforms, which are critical for the economy, both the farm laws as well as the 1991 reforms, both reforms met with stiff resistance. In a way, one can say that the 2021 reforms was a reminder that not necessarily all good intentions will meet with good responses. He, however, emphasizes on the importance of reforms, whether they were in 1991 or whether they were in 2021, and how they are scuttled at many a times due to political and other vested interest. So after discussing this, he takes you back, well, not to 91, but to the time of independence, when there was a plan called the Bombay Plan, which was made by industrialists and which does talk about liberalizing the economy at the time of independence itself. However, he argues that while that was in a way a first draft of economic reforms or economic policies, it too had certain discrepancies, certain things which did not really add up, as there were two parts, he said. One talked about reforms and one talked about licensing and other things which you may find not to be in accordance with each other. However, other than the Bombay Plan, which still many people know, Gautamji takes us to 8 important policy documents since the time of independence, somewhere from 1952 to the industrial policy of 1990, which actually tells you how key economic policies were shaped, what was the thought behind these economic policies, and therein get an imprint of, in a way, what was actually wrong with the Indian economy. Whatever we talk, the license raj, the license problems, that we talk of too much of conservative policies being followed, there was too much of protection being followed. It gives you a detailed sketch of what all the key policy documents were, something which I would say gives you a sketch of what was wrong with the Indian economy since 1947 to 1991. And it was in 1991 that we know that several reforms took place. However, you learn one very important thing in this book is that even when the reformist prime minister, as you call it, P.V. Narasimha Rao, talked about these reforms, he gave a lot of credit to the previous Congress leadership. And as Gautamji argues that no attempt was made to actually accept the fact that there were mistakes committed by the leadership when it comes to economics. However, their decisions were highlighted as if they did a lot of good when it comes to economics. And mind you, we're only talking about economic policies and not other political or any other policies. So when we say that good economics or Trump politics, well, as Gautamji makes us realize that no, politics always, probably, at least in the case of India, trumped good economics. However, since 1991, so there's a very detailed chapter on 1991 policies when licensing issues were sorted, several other sectors are opened up to foreign direct investments, and all the key policy decisions which were taken in 91 are also very well highlighted. And then comes perhaps the most important chapters of the book, wherein Gautamji has mentioned about 70 odd reforms which are taken since 1991, whether it was the monopolistic and restricted trade policies, related to liberalization, to telecom sector, to right to education, agriculture, all kind of reforms he has covered in adequate detail in about, as I said, about 70 reforms, which I believe anyone interested in knowing about India's economic journey from 1991 till today will find that very, very useful and very interesting. And well, in the last chapter, he talks about, after making a strong case for economic liberalization and economic reforms. He talks about the future, and he argues that the future of economics in India, or for that matter anywhere, lies beyond economics. He talks about the people, he talks about the role of states, or its states and center, how the relationships or how the economic independence being given to states will actually shape the economic outcome of tomorrow's India. He also talks about the challenges being faced by India, such as on the AI, artificial intelligence, on the technology front, and on the geopolitical front, how various think tanks or other policy makers or whatever, they will try to scuttle India's growth by spreading narratives. All such things, Gautamji feels, are going to be very important in how India looks at the next 25 years. He envisions a very strong economy for India in 2047. Well, let's hope what he sees, what he envisages actually becomes true. But in the meanwhile, this is one book I strongly recommend if you want to know about India's, not just India's economic policy, but about India's economic past since 1947, and also what exactly does the future holds. Anyone who is having interest in economics, politics, or for that matter anything related to governance will surely find this book very, very helpful. Thank you very much for watching my video. As I said, I've read a lot on economics and policy making, and in particular I found this book to be very, very helpful. It's a call. It's about taking the reform process forward. It makes a strong case for economic reforms. It tells you in details how the reform helped, and most important, what exactly were the reforms about. And very importantly, if you think this is about making everything get privatized kind of narrative, well, it is not, because at the very beginning you will see Gautamji arguing that when it comes to reforms, we just cannot blindly follow the Western countries, because for them also their priorities change over time. So we have to see what makes sense for India as a country and just follow that. All in all, a book with certain excellent and important facts, and I must say a very well written book on India's economics. Thanks again for watching the video. If you think I did a good job, please give a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more updates. You can also mail to me at readwith80@gmail.com. Thank you.